Water levels are stable this morning. The battle, though, is not over just yet. Even with the sun-filled skies over the next several days, Montreal's flood watch is expecting the worst is still coming and is likely to hit over the weekend. Yesterday, the Ile Mercier Bridge was closed. More than a kilometer of temporary sandbag walls have been built in Pierrefonds-Roxboro to keep homes from flooding. Let's get an update now from Jim Beis, of course, the mayor of Pierrefonds-Roxboro and on Montreal's Executive Council for Security and Prevention. Hi, Jim. Welcome back to the show. Mayor Beis, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Elias. Thank you for having me.
So I'm looking at the forecast here. I said it before, sun. And I'm like, oh, this is great. But you tell me, well, is it great? What are we going through over the next few days?
Well, look, it's good because we're able to mobilize our teams on the ground to apply the necessary measures because you have to understand, I mean, it's not necessarily what's happening locally. It's what's happening upstream as well. There's still a lot of snow. There's snow melt. There's ground that is frozen that when it does rain in any sector runs off into the rivers, of course, increasing the flow and eventually the levels of the river. If we weren't where we are today with the measures we have in place, we would have been flooded in some areas already as of last Saturday. So what this weather allows us to do and this stability for the next day or so allows our teams to be able to apply measures in other areas should the water rise to a level that will affect some of the higher lying areas. Now we've prioritized all our actions in the low-lying areas, and we know that those areas are protected for the moment, and it allows us to move further east in our borough.
Is this a story here of just how, like human resiliency? We got hit with, over the last decade, we got a couple of years that were pretty darn bad. Seems like we've learned from it. Seems like we've learned how to mitigate, how to better prepare. Is that part of this story that we should be talking about?
Well, I think that's an excellent point because since 2017, we've learned a lot of lessons. Now, 2017 being the historic floods that they were, I mean, we've had about four episodes since 2017 that were critical and made us apply measures across the board. And because of the studies that we did, literally what was happening across the world in terms of flood management, we, first of all, stockpiled a lot of equipment, particularly in Pierrefonds-Roxboro, where we're able to mobilize teams at a moment's notice that the systems that we have in place really replace the hundreds of thousands of bags that we would use otherwise to protect these areas. So we know the systems work. The problem we have is that year after year we're faced with these types of occurrences and weather patterns that unfortunately mobilize our teams to protect areas that once upon a time we never had to. I mean, since the 70s, we never had any floods of this magnitude. And now, as of 2017, we've almost been faced with threats every year up until this year. So, I mean, certainly resiliency is one thing, but it's also how do we adapt our environment to be able to at least address some of these issues that affect so many areas. I mean, Quartier-Ville does a great job. Ile-Bizarre-Saint-Geneviève as well have applied measures throughout. We are in communication, of course, with our neighboring communities, Senneville, Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue. And again, we know that Dorval and Pointe-Claire, for example, are facing particular threats, not necessarily the river cresting everywhere, but, backflow into the storm sewer system that could flood entire neighborhoods. So everybody's on watch.
What are your best case scenario? And maybe, I'll ask the question too. What's your worst case scenario right now?
Well, look, we always have to plan for the worst case scenario, no question about it. And the worst case scenario is that we meet the levels come beginning of May that we were in 2017, 2019. If we look at the graphs and the forecasts, I mean, we are very close, if not at the level at this time as we were in 2017, 2019. Now, does that mean that it's going to stabilize and start gradually going down, or will we be hit by that second wave, which is usually around the beginning of May? And we're working closely with our emergency management teams, of course, the Emergency Operations Center as well, that is mobilized to be able to orchestrate a lot of the actions that are taking place on the ground. And so far, everyone is working in collaboration. And I have to say, I mean, it's not only the blue collars who are doing an incredible job, but we have our management teams that are front and center, our directors of our boroughs as well that are, working with all the teams to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. And so far, so good. But we have to keep our fingers crossed and continue to be vigilant.
What is your message to residents who've got homes, they've got basements perhaps that have flooded in the past? What's on them? What is on the homeowner to be prepared?
Funny enough, the folks that live in these flood-prone areas have adapted to the reality of potentially being flooded. So not only are they aware of how to protect their homes, we also deliver pallets of sand to the individual homes that could get flooded should one of these dikes breach, for example. Not only that, we do our door-to-door. We've done that already in the flood-prone areas. We have a booklet that we've produced with the steps indicating what are the roles and responsibilities of the citizens themselves. We are there to protect the public domain, but also provide the necessary resources to the citizens to do that. And this is an ongoing process. Certainly, we have folks that have moved into these areas that have never seen the floods, that some don't even know that there were floods, imagine. So we have to keep doing this every year to make sure that everyone understands their roles. But so far, so good. I have to tell you that folks in these areas are resilient, and they understand that we do everything humanly possible to protect them.
Jim, before I let you go, I got to talk about the roads. We're with Jim Beis, of course, mayor of Pierrefonds-Roxboro. He's on the executive committee for security and prevention. Let me ask you about the potholes. Now, near our station here, corner of Papineau and Viger, corner of Papineau and Notre Dame, it's a gong show, the potholes. Near, when I go to work every morning, corner of DeCarry, Côte St. Luc Road, it's a nightmare. I spoke an hour ago to a resident who had a $37,000 repair bill because of hitting a pothole at that intersection. Jim, how is it in your neck of the woods? And should we be doing better when it comes to potholes?
Well, look, I'm in City Hall in Montreal today, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I see it. We all are confronted with this. In Pierrefonds-Roxboro, certainly we do have some potholes. It's not at the level that it is in the center city, undoubtedly. We just don't have the amount of traffic and vehicles and heavy vehicles that go on the roads. Now, should we be doing better? We have to understand that when we came in November as an administration, we made sure that there was a plan in place to be able to address the issue of potholes. It is unacceptable that our roads have deteriorated to the state that they're in today, and we're faced with this unfortunate challenge to be able to do some catch up to fix some of these roads. I mean, there are programs that, of course, boroughs have tapped into through the years, and of course, every borough varies. But I mean, without looking at the past and what was or wasn't done, we have to look as an administration forward and say, well, what can we plan in the next little while to make our roads not only safe, but long lasting and not have to keep addressing the same issues year after year. And so I know that speaking to the president of the executive committee, they have a plan in place, particularly in Ville-Marie and other boroughs as well. We've injected a lot of money into the boroughs to be able for them to address their issues. Some have contracted out work. We have chosen to use that money to add additional teams to our public works services to deal with that issue.
And are they out there? Are they out there? Right? Like I have to ask because on the corner near our station, it's 3 weeks now. Like 3 weeks ago, the holes were bad. They keep getting bigger. And it's funny, like last week they had put orange cones in front of a particularly bad pothole on Notre Dame. Today coming in, the cones are gone. The pothole is still there. And I'm like, oh, geez, now someone can just fall into this sucker. And I'm just wondering, like, where are those crews? Where are those crews? If you're not on Papineau and Notre Dame, where are you?
Well, I've seen the crews. I've seen them in the different communities. As you know, I'm everywhere on the island of Montreal with not only my new responsibilities, but because of the flood watch as well. And I see folks that are working hard to make this happen. I can address this issue, no question about it, because you're right. I agree with you. And I agree with the citizens when they say, what the heck is going on with our streets? There's no excuse for where we are today. All I can tell you is that we've taken this by the horns and we want to make a change. There are structural issues that definitely have to be addressed, no question about it. But I know the teams are there. The money has been allocated, and so it's just a matter of time. But now that you mentioned this particular issue, but I also urge the residents. I know that people are fed up to a certain degree, but they need to absolutely contact their local administrations and their elected bodies so that they can take action when needed. They have the funds to do it, and they have the resource to do it. Now it's just a matter of time and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And so So I've taken note of the intersection that you've told me. And as a matter of fact, when I do leave City Hall here today, I will make a point of going down there as well. And I'll send that information to the administration there.
So it's Papineau North, turning up from Notre Dame. So you're on Notre Dame, you turn up on Papineau, you turn north onto Papineau, and then you continue through to Viger. It's just pothole after pothole after pothole. And it's funny, I know where to go, but you literally, it's like a game of Frogger. You have to go in between the lanes just to get through.
I know exactly where you're talking about, Elias, and I will definitely bring that up today.
There you go. At least the hosts at CJAD won't have to deal with potholes. Jim, thank you very much. I know you're on it. Appreciate your time.
Stay well.
Jim Beis is the mayor of Pierrefonds-Roxboro on the executive committee responsible for security and prevention.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.